Hello and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to explain the chapter The Lost Child from Grade 6 Pearson New Images textbook. So let us begin. This story is mainly of a village fair and a child getting lost in it. So let's read. It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat, being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy between his father's leg, brimming over with life and laughter. Come, child, come, called his parents as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined the way. He hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call, his eyes still lingering on the receding toys. So, the story is about this little child who is brimming over with life and laughter. And he keeps on lagging behind in the whole story until he gets lost. So his parents keep calling, come, child, come, as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys and shops that lined the way. There are few word meanings in these boxes which you can take help of while reading. So receding means gradually diminishing. As he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress his desire, even though he well knew the old, cold stare of refusal in their eyes. I want that toy, he pleaded. His father looked at him red eyed in his familiar tyrant's way. His mother, melted by the free spirit of the day, was tender and giving him her finger to hold, said, look, child, what is before you? It was a flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold as it swept across miles and miles of even land. So, here again, the child is begging his parents or pleading to his parents, I want that toy. But his father looked at him in his familiar tyrant's way. Tyrant is nothing but a cruel ruler. But his mother was melted by the free spirit of the day, and so she was tender and giving him her hand to hold, said, look, child, what is before you? So it was a flowering mustard field, and there they describe it. Let's read from here. A group of dragonflies were bustling about on their gaudy purple wings, intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. So here they describe this flowering mustard field. Gaudy, you will find the meaning here, showy. And intercepting is stopping somebody. The child followed them in the air with his gaze, till one of them would sit still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch it. But it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air when he had almost caught it in his hands. Then his mother gave a cautionary call, come, child, come, come, onto the footpath. So you see that already in just this much, he lagged behind 2 times. So he will keep lagging and then finally he gets lost. So that's the main idea of the story. He ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpaths that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. Come, child, come, his parents called from the shade of a grove where they had seated themselves onto the edge of a well. So, grove is nothing but a group of trees, a small group of trees. So, again, for the third time, they call him Come, child, come, when he was left behind, attracted by little insects and worms. And when he entered, a shower of young flowers fell upon the child when he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents again for the fourth time, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. But lo, he heard the cooing of doves and ran towards his parents, shouting, the dove, the raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. So now again, he is going behind the cooing doves. For the fifth time, come, child, come, his parents called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers round the banyan tree, and gathered him up as he took the narrow, winding footpath which led to the fair. Sorry, yes, which led to the fair through the mustard fields. As they neared the village, the child could see many other footpaths full of throngs, converging to the whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. So finally, from their way to the home, the mustard field, they entered the original village fair, and he was fascinated by all this confusion of the world that which he was currently entering. A sweetmeat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasgulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed round his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colorful sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open-eyed, and his mouth watered for the burfi that was his favorite sweet. I want the burfi, he slowly murmured, but he knew that his parents would not listen to him and he would say that he was greedy. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So, he murmured slowly, but still he moved on without waiting for a response from his parents. A flower seller hawked, a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped, and half murmured, I want that garland. But again he knew that his parents would refuse to buy them, saying that these flowers are too cheap. So again, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. A man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green, and purple balloons flying from it. The child was simply carried away from the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. So, possess, right? Own them. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he's too old to play with such toys. So again, he walked on further. So you see that he's just moving on without waiting for a reply, right? So this is the time when he's already lost, but he doesn't know it. A snake charmer stood playing a flute to the snake, which coiled itself in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like the neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like the gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. So he comes across a snake charmer who sings towards a snake, and the snake gets attracted to it. And yes, its head raised like a graceful swan, like the graceful neck of a swan. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him for hearing such coarse music, as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. There was a roundabout in full swing. Men, women, and children, carried away in a whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on that roundabout, please, father, mother. If he would have made this bold request at first, he would have got to know that he's lagging behind and he's getting lost, and it would have been much more easier to find his parents. But now he has given his bold request at this moment, and there was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of him. A full, deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear, Mother, Father. So here we are going to end part 1. Do watch part 2 if you want to know the continuation of this chapter. Thank you.